I think I lost my way. I know you're there behind the mirror, but the cracks they begin to show. Got a secret I can't tell you. I just wanna be alone. I didn't know how much I needed, but I've got to give it somehow. Waking up to nothing. When you know you're out of bed, waking up to nothing. I wanna do it again. I'm so happy when I'm with you, but I hate it just the same. I know the walls they have no meaning, but I swear they are all I need. Waking up to nothing. When you know you're out of bed, I wanna lay low without you home. I've got everything I need. When you know you're nothing I need.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Anti-Stall Racing IMSA series. We missed a couple of rounds, unfortunately, on the broadcast side, and we've got some graphics issues on the screen. But we're back for round 6 at the Nurburgring, and they are not going to go away. We'll get that sorted. Back for round 6 at the Nurburgring. Missed a couple of, 3 rounds, I think. Suzuka, or someone help me out. I'm joined by Brody and Alice. I'm just wondering if someone can help me out with the other rounds that I missed. Suzuka, and I can't remember.
Fuji, I believe, and
Fuji.
then last week's race in Miami.
So yeah, Miami, first time Miami Anti-Stall Racing was a series, but we're back for what is going to be a multi-class round. It was originally planned to be a round that would be split up into 2 single-class rounds, but race control and the organisational team making the decision to bolt back to a multi-class round, but with a small change. We're going to have a 45-minute race today in the aim that we'll be able to push more flat out and there won't be as much fuel saving going on. So we'll see what that brings us and get a bit more of a sprint race. GT3 qualifying going on at the moment. Just the first couple of laps for the drivers. Obviously had the practice session beforehand, but just getting feeling the track conditions, what they're like right now. Brody, obviously you're going to be racing in the GTP category today, but what are those first few laps like in qualifying? Have the conditions changed much from practice? And I suppose in the GTPs it's maybe a little bit more about getting the tyre temperature in as well.
Yeah, like we've seen obviously over this season as well as last season. Tyre temperature is crucial, and it takes those few initial laps just to get the tyres up to temperature. In the GTPs with this tyre model, I think from my experience in practice, I think it took about 4 or 5 laps. Some drivers might push a bit further to get more flying laps in quicker, but you see it's definitely going to be a struggle for us. You touched on as well bit of change coming into this round. We've had quite a bit of change actually, not just with the format of today's race, but also drivers moving in between the classes, mainly GTP down to GT3. I think one notable driver there is Albert Preen.
I think yeah, you can see Albert running 51 GT3. I'm not sure what car Albert's driving, and I tell you what, the reason he's not showing on that timing stand, like you say, there's been some driver changes. It's not been updated on the standing, so we'll get that done for you so you can see them as quickly as possible. So that's going to be interesting in GT3, have some more competition at the top end perhaps, but also going to be interesting in GTP in the hypercar class, because we're going to get to see some different names out there competing, which is going to be competing for the top spots, which is going to be really good to see as well.
Should get the first round of flying laps through shortly. 24 of Daniel Morphy is going to lead them to the first timing round. So this is sort of like the benchmark, where if you can get this lapping, you're at least good for the session. You don't need to worry about anything in the future. You can just get that lapping. You can focus on getting that time, but you've got something safe to fall back on. And I don't know what the GT3 time model is like these days, but this is usually pretty representative of overall pace. As Preem actually getting that first time in, 1:55.
I think Daniel Morphy was first across the line, but it looks like the lap was invalidated. Had an off-track moment from the... Tears goes to the top, a good pace for Albert Preem. Not right at the top, but not bad for his first qualifying lap in a GT3 in the Amstel Racing IMSA series.
Grant has taken to the pits early, might have just had a little bit of an upset car. Oh, that's a car off the track entirely.
That's what happened to Luca Picardi, and that's not the best angle for it. I think there's been a moment beforehand, actually. A little bit further back.
It would be good if I could see this replay.
Oh, yeah, it would. Sorry, guys. There. Should... Going on my... There you go. Right, let's go back and take another look at what happened to Luca Picardi with some assistance this time. My co-commentators.
Just tries to get too much of the exit, ends up on the rumble strip.
It all looks okay through here, so I'm not going to go wrong, surely.
How nice that rumble strip is to be on GT3s.
It was around here that we saw him. At the moment.
Gets unsighted by the car in front, yeah.
Might be James Rodison. Further around the track. There we go.
That's a parked car, and that is a resave join lane.
Oh,
Race control will have a look at that. Anyway, let's go back to live images, watch the qualifying going on. Albert Preem gets a lot closer on that lap. Matthias improving, but so did Albert to be just 88 milliseconds off of the provisional pole sitter. But Vincent van der Moelenbroek is flying. Say that is not really flying, just again another driver in the wrong class, and we're going to get that updated for you right now.
And that is the 53 of James Russell being ahead of the pit lane start for that rejoin.
So pit lane start for Rodison, but can still score points in this qualifying session. So he needs to try and work his way up the timing board a little bit.
I believe that tower is also missing material entirely. I just realised there's one lane short there. It's good to be prepared for these eventualities, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fortunately, Italy yet to set a lap time, but obviously we'll look to do so. Still about half of this qualifying session left to run, so good time to get something in. Taking a look at Luca Picardi still, who has Kiko Lakali behind, pressuring. And let's see through. Picardi happy to give up that lap.
Go. Fixed graphics again with a couple more drivers on that GT3 timing screen. Purples for a lot of drivers out there at the moment. Morphy goes to the top. and is quickly surpassed by Albert Priem. Matthias is flying now with some purples on that lap and goes back to the top again. A proper fight on with the top three here, and once again, I know I missed a couple of rounds, but Daniel Morphy impressing in that Mercedes, which is not as good a car as some of the others out there. As per usual, putting in some good lap times. It's quite tight at the top at the moment. The field starts to spread out a little bit as they go down the order, but it is a longer lap here. We're only running about a minute lap time last time out in Miami in the hypercar class, that is, but T3's running about a 1:55 on average here.
It's weird because I always think of the Nurburgring GP circuit as a short one, but it's still a 2-minute lap overall, so clearly they're spending a lot of time out here.
Got some big long straights, even though it doesn't feel like there's that much going on in some of the corners.
Yes.
Bertolini improves in P11.
Just the amount of space there is, like the run down from turn 4 in through 6 and 7, and then that massive run down into 8th Dunlop curve. Huge corner that you don't really appreciate just how big it is, I guess, when you're in the car.
Daniel Morphy is absolutely fine here. Albert Priem has not found any time on this lap. It's all yellow. Matthias Vuyten is 2 yellows and a green so far. Daniel Morphy is 3 purples and a green so far. So this lap is going to be absolutely mega from Morphy, who sits less than a 10th off of pole position as they run right now. And what is Morphy going to do across the line? Because it is going to be mega, and it's really going to throw a marker down with about 5 minutes left on this GT3 session. Across the line with Daniel Morphy.
Together, doesn't matter. That is an insanely good time, 0.5 of a second clear, but still good enough for P1, and neither rival, White nor Priem, can really challenge that at this moment in time. So Morphy right now holds pole position with only 4 minutes left in the GT3 session of qualifying. Looking pretty convincing for now. Maybe 2 laps left for each driver, maybe a third if they got the fuel for it, but
and the Mühlerbrook across the line stays in P6 but improves that lap time. Tim Scholten same behind in P7 improves but not on the leaderboard. Brody, you've driven some laps around here today. Obviously it's a little bit different in the 2 classes, but is it best to have some space around here, or is it best to try and get a tow down the start finish straight and down the back straight?
It's definitely a difficult decision to make because just of how fast this circuit is. Majority of lap is full throttle, so if you're close to a car getting a tow and that car makes a mistake, your lap's ruined. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what drivers do what, but I think a majority of the drivers may go for the space just so they have that confidence of nothing's going to really impact them on their laps.
Let's see what happens in GTP. Most people seem to be electing for space here in the GT3 field. It is improving here. A couple of purples and a couple of greens this lap, so definitely on to challenge for the pole here. Through the final corner, riding the curb on the outside, open up the final corner as much as you can, and then power to the line. And across the line, Vuyten does improve up to pole position and puts 2 tenths on Daniel Morphy. That's a lap. Albert Priem had a good sector 1 and then dropped off after that. Quite significantly actually, so I wonder if he backed off to get another cool lap in. Working out the timings of how many laps these guys can get done, but Daniel Morphy will be wanting to improve again. That was a slow lap last time by for Daniel Morphy. I think that was a cool lap for Daniel Morphy, so let's see what he can do through sector 1. See if he can shuffle his way up the timing board a little bit. Well, a little bit would only be 1 position, but that 2 temps is going to be mighty hard to find. That's how close these cars were running previously.
I think Picardi's been thrown off the rhythm ever since the earlier incident as well, yet to set a lap time in this session, so as it stands currently would be the last car on the track, but you can see just with the gaps in some of these back markers as it stands currently, there's plenty of space to slot into. You can set a lap time. You just need to get one that's competitive and in bounds, and you should be getting a decent way up the grid.
No improvements for the top 3 on this lap, although Daniel Morphy has just crossed the timing line in sector 3, has gone purple in sector 3. There is potential for this lap to be a little bit better. I know it's showing green on the graphic, but my timing display is showing that he did not improve in sector 1. Purple then in sector 3, so there is potential here for Morphy. Got to find 2/10, so it's another yellow sector in sector 4, but remember he had purple sectors in sector 2 and sector 4 in his previous lap, so he, by no means, they are bad laps. Tighter line through the final corner than the BMWs were taking. Morphy through the line does improve, but it's not enough for pole position. He's pulling over. So that's going to be it on Daniel Morphy's charge. Albert Preem's trying to pick up a toe from his teammate behind. Matthias Weitzen comes across the line. Not improve. There'll be 1 lap left for the 2 DLR drivers. So Matthias Weitzen will try and improve, secure that pole position, and his teammate behind will try and steal it away. Vincent van der Moelenbroek coming to the line, also looking to improve in another DLR Mustang. Plenty of these guys today. Improves, but does not move himself up the timing order. That is checkered flag. So this will be everyone's last laps. That's Luca Picardi about to come across the line to try and set a lap time, and does so. Moves up to P9.
There we go.
Yeah, Alice, you touched on it. Just how much you can move up that timing board. Get a lap in. Brody, I'm going to let you go so you can get ready for your session. It's been great to have you, and I'm sure we'll have you again before the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to coming back.
Right, we've got at least 1 GTP and now another queuing up already. There's still laps going on, so don't focus on them too much. Callum looking to improve the Pro car a long way down the order from where they should be, and up to P4. From no lap time to P4 on the last lap is very impressive, and it'll be interesting to see if Callum can do anything else in the race, because that was just 1 lap that went well, so maybe wasn't pushing fully. So let's see what the pace is like from that Jens Brothers competition car. Warning there for Quinten Verdonk. I believe that'll be. Yeah, it will be.
No, that's Kevin Versenvoort.
Queuing up on the pit lane exit too early. Dominic Knockel doesn't look like he's going to improve on this lap. A couple of others still trying to find some time, which includes the 2 DLR drivers here. Albert Preem now leads these 2, so Matthias has gone off somewhere and dropped behind his teammate. But Albert Preem going to go to the line and does improve, but not enough to jump the Mercedes ahead. So Matthias Weitzen will start on pole position in the GT3 category. Sergio Sanchez Cachafiero, though, is about to come to the line. Sanchez stays P5, improves, but stays P5. Vincent van der Moelenbroek pulls over before he even gets to the timing line. So that it will be your grid, with Matthias Weitzen on pole alongside Daniel Morphy, followed by Albert Preem, Sergio Sanchez are your top 5, and we've got a green flag in GTP. Now, remember what Brody said in that little discussion. These guys are going to be looking for tyre temperature for the first few laps, as we're very much used to at this point. And then we'll get to see the proper push laps coming through.
Important thing to note, Samira Shards did not take part in the ritual of everyone line up at the pit exit. It's a late exit for the 46, meaning there's plenty of space for him to drive into or away from, as Brody alluded to earlier. So need to see how that shakes out, because obviously all these guys are basically on top of each other in the early going in this race. Actually, Jack Reeve ends up being the last car out overall. Even further back, I thought it was part of that main pack, but no. But then we have the other 5 drivers, Van der Wakel, Emmerey, Van Verstenvoort, Maynard and Verdonk in this pile-up. A little bit of space between them, but obviously if someone makes a slip, you do need to make an evasive manoeuvre instead of keeping on your flying lap. So if this gets a little bit spicy, you could just lose a lap. But then again, early going, probably not too worried about that. So you just need to make sure that in the later going, you're not tripping over people.
Yeah, surprised to see these guys all packed up this tightly. They do it every week. They all start so close to each other. They're all so keen to get out the pit lane, and then end up building a gap further around the lap when they could have just sort of not got in the car and driven out the pit lane whenever they wanted. And everyone wants a different prep. Some people want to push a lap sooner than others, and
Teo just had a little bit of a slide off on the final hairpin. Nothing major. You see the tyre smoke there.
they of that. What if we wish being right car? Oh, and he nearly
These
locks
are
up and
live
gets into the
scenes.
back.
Ooh.
Brody, and one. Let's take another look at what happened at the hairpin.
So this is ice cold tyres. Tags the apron there. And yeah, those curbs are angled outwards, and the GTPs on cold tyres really don't like that. You just get spat out on that curb there.
See, everyone's still weaving, trying to find a little bit of track temperature. The tyre temperature, sorry. Just trying to work out what the track is actually. I think we're about 30 degrees Celsius, 24 in the air. Steadily rising though, that track temperature. Eye on that. Davey, quickest out there at the moment. But like we say, these laps don't really matter too much.
This is just a case of everyone's just trying to keep a car pointing forward and trying to run decent lap times just to get the heat in, but again, these times will sink by seconds just by natural getting heat cycles through these tyres. Nothing you do here is permanent, and the car you're trying to race right now will beat you next lap anyway, so don't worry about it. Just drive the track, keep your car pointing forwards, and yeah, try and enjoy it.
A brief update on those points as well from the rounds that were missed. So Quinton Verdonk won at Fuji in G, followed by Albert Preem and Samir Ashad. Podium, if you want the full results, you'll find them on Discord. Or you can view them on the website yourselves. Davy van der Vacker then won at Suzuka, followed by Quinton Verdonk and Samir Ashad. And at Homestead, Miami, Samir Ashad won the race ahead of Davy van der Vacker, Quinton Brody Maynard coming out fourth place. In GT3 Pro, Fuji was won by Daniel Morphy ahead of Michael Kellenberger, Kiko Lakaye. Suzuka won by Mateus Vajten ahead of Kiko Lakaye and Sergio Sanchez. At Homestead, Miami, the race was won once again by Mateus Vajten, once again followed by Daniel Morphy, but ahead of Harley. GT3 Am was won at Fuji by Luca Picardi, ahead of Ben Groneveld and Ivan Vesga. Then at Suzuka, Ben Groneveld won ahead of Ivan Vesga, and then Kosi came. Then at Homestead Miami, Ivan Vesga won again ahead of Ben Groneveld, ahead of Jeroen Weinbergen. So going to be interesting to see. We'll give you a quick championship update as well while we're here. Luca Picardi leads in Am ahead of Vesga, Groneveld, Caranta and Weinbergen, making your top 5. GT3 Pro Championship currently led by Mateus Vajten, but only about 32 points ahead of Daniel Morphy, right, and then Galakayo P3, Sanchez in P4 and Lux 5, very close in the Pro category actually. GTP is led by Quinton Verdonk ahead of Samir Ashad. Albert Preem, who will just drop down in the championship from here on out because now switched to GT3. Brody Maynard effectively becomes your de facto for at the moment. And of the Sanvor, Renek, Preens and Emirae making up your top 8 in the most drivers. I think we've nearly got some tyre temperature in these cars now. Quinton Verdonk has set that sort of benchmark time that we'll be aiming for is a 46.29, but already improved in sector 1 by a fair amount, about a second. Some of the other cars on the track. So I think Quinton is pushing now actually. Go on, follow on board down towards the hairpin. This is going to be a good overtaking spot in the race, and it's maybe going to get a little bit difficult with some traffic as well. See when we get to it. So Quinton pushing hard through here. Jack Reeve is ahead on track, but he's not pushing too much at the moment. Quinton is pushing now and up through the hill. I think all of the curb. Brody touched on it. So much of his lap spent on the throttle in the hypercar through the Schumacher S. Now push all the way to the final chicane. all over the exit curb for Quinton Verdonk. No off track though, so he's allowed to do that. Van der Back has picked up a slowdown on this lap, but has backed out of it now. Improvement in sector 4 for Verdonk, but he sends it over the curbs in the chicane. Now he's just got that final corner, also using some of the curb on the outside, but not as much as the GT3 drivers were using. And push to the line now for Quinton Verdonk in the Ferrari. 46.29 before, it's 44.644. I think we're in warm tyre temperature range now.
Yep, so these lap times are going to plummet for a lot of these drivers very quickly. Again, like these lap times are not going to be representative until they cross the line, and even then you can still probably get a little bit more heat in these tyres. They do take a while. They can get to a decent range by about now, but they will improve a little bit more the longer you run, so you can potentially get a little bit more out of them. As a shot gets about a third of a second off the back of a donk. So now it's very much push time. You've got tyres. You can get a decent lap in still now, even if the tyres are going to improve. You need to be on your game at this point. Get those laps in. Get that time down. Make sure everything you do counts, because you don't want to be sat in that last lap knowing you have to make it, otherwise you're starting at the back. Just gotta drive good laps. It's that simple. How hard could it be?
The Shad pretty quick in that first sector, sets the purple sector, and there's a tenth quicker than what Quinton Verdonk managed, which was the previous purple sector 1. So Van der Back improving as well, purple sector 2 for him. Three Ferraris, 3 Cadillacs and 1 BMW. Cadillac not quite as good this season as it has been, but it's not stopped some of these drivers from being competitive.
No Porsche, my beloved. No Acura either. I remember the good old days when the GT3s with the Acura.
Last season we had like one of everything. Now we're back to just 2 cars. Hopefully, with the hybrid system refresh expected to come next season, the cars will all become a little bit more balanced, and the Ferrari will not have that 4-wheel drive all of the time. Samir Rashad though across the line. Vaca improves on that last lap, but Samir Rashad improves even more to go just under a 10th clear of the donk at the front of the field.
Everyone on bar Mateo Lemeray has stayed out this entire time, so the tyres should be good for everyone. You can see Reeve and well, maybe not as good lap they want. Oh, Lemeray is just really struggling right now. I believe this is the replay. Gets a chunk of curb, gets off the track.
If that was for incident as well, a little bit further around the track. Really struggling for grip on these cold tyres. It's a problem if you have to reset to pit. It
kind of kills the entire session, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then you're sort of pushing to try and get the tyre temperature a little bit quicker, and then that just leads to another mistake, and then you get even more panicked, and that just leads to another mistake. Having those full 15 minutes on one set of tyres seems to be what all the drivers have converged doing now. It seems to be the best approach, because just get more laps where you can actually push, and okay, maybe you're not going to get the optimal track conditions and everything, but to get a few more runs at it really is proven to be crucial. I've just been told by the race director that apparently Mateo got away with that wall snap and has carried on, and has maybe not fully got away with it. There might be some damage, but just some top speed he's losing. It's probably worth keeping the warm tyres back to get it repaired. Van der Vaca improves at the front to go around 2 temps clear of Samir Rashad, who does improve even more to get within 12 milliseconds of Van der Vaca. It's going to be close for pole position here, especially when Quinton gets another good lap in, which is well on the way to doing now with another purple
2
sector
laps
1.
left for them. So you really need to be pushing now. This is where you can make up that position. Your tyres are going to be as good as they're going to get. Your fuel load is as low as it's going to go. You just need to go out there and set some purple sectors like Verdonk's got in sector 1. Can't get anything in 2 going in his favour, but a lot of clean track in front.
going to be really tight. We were treated to a tight qualifying in GT3, and we're going to be treated to one in GTP, but I've seen an off-track come up for Quinton, but I don't think that's his lap. I think it was his lap. Brody Maynard picked up a 1x, and Matteo Lemray is also spin, I believe. That in a second. See what he can do. Hey, it was improving at that point, for him. Crunch of the curbs. Ferrari. And a good exit here with that four-wheel drive. What can Quinton do? It's pole position with 3 yellows on the lap.
That's
and look how close,
insane, actually.
look how close the top 3 are, and that's it for Quinton. That's going to be the last lap for Quinton, so we just need to see what Davey can do. Well, it's not going to be this lap for Davey, but perhaps a push lap for Davey, I think.
Shad can't improve either. I think that might have been trying to build the battery, perhaps. You set it into build mode, flip it into quali. As you get through the line, you have 1 full send potential. It's not going to be worth too much, that battery, compared to if it's just on a neutral mode, but it's when the gaps are this small, it might make all the difference.
We'll keep you updated on Samir's sector times as well if they don't pop up on the screen. But no one improving at the moment. But Sandvoort finds a little bit in sector 2. Sector 1 for Davey and Samir, they're both 2 temps off of what Quinton managed. In cars, though.
In the rest of the track, yeah.
You're not finding enough here so far.
See, this is what I don't like about qualifying too much, in that it just ends up being a lot of looking at timing sheets. The checkered flag will fly. Verdonk currently sits on pole position, but there's 2 drivers chasing that have a decent chance of breaking that. It's just a question of whether Van der Wacker with 2 orange sectors has enough in the back half of the lap to try and drag this back. Does get that second ring crucially. And now it's just going to be all in this final hairpin.
Oh no, he dives to the pit lane, it's over. I was going to say, remember that Verdonk set that lap time with 3 yellows, but it's over for Van der Wacker. What can Samira Shad do? He's picked up a purple sector. Through the final corner, can Samir find anything to challenge for pole position, or at least the front row? He's going to be hoping so. Crosses the line, does improve, but it's not enough for the front row. Sorry, does not improve by a tiny margin. And we said we'd have a look at it. So this is what happened to Matteo Lemray. Currently sits outside of 105%, but may have a practice lap that was okay and clobbered that curb, trying to take as much as he could. Away. Once again, escapes the wall. That's session over for Matteo. In gravel all over the road as he rejoins.
One to forget for Trackhouse Racing Team, I think.
Yes, and one to forget for Brody Maynard, who is showing a lap time. Showing a lap time on my screen. Well, that's about.
I have him in 5th with a 1:45.504.
Do I? So that's what's showing on race control. Not quite sure. Lap time is that with a 45.
1:45.504.
Anything in my. I would not got that on screen. Strange.
Quickly verify, but yes, that is bizarre.
You check what it's showing in iRacing. That would be good.
Yes.
That would be the. That's obviously what's going to decide the grid at the end of the day.
Ooh, my overlay macros have decided to break, and I've got this just big. Whereas Brody Maynard has a qualifying time of 1:45.504. So yes, the software is working as intended.
Okay, we will take that lap time because that's what's going to happen. So Brody Maynard will start P5, and Jack Reeve will start P6. So Lemray will start P7. I'll be able to show you some qualifying results. Here you go then. Matthias Viton will start on pole position in GT3 ahead of Daniel Morphy and Albert Pre making his debut in the class. Callum Lux P4, Sanchez P5, Lakaye P6, Van der Mullenbroek 7th, Bertolini P8, and Picardi round out the top 10 ahead of Scholten, Gak, Weinbergen, Caranta, Knockel, Bossy, and Rodison, who will start the race despite being outside of the 105 in qualifying because he had a practice time that was within the required time. GTP pole position goes to Quinton Verdonk with Vulcan Motorsports ahead of Van der Vacker and Samira Shad, all within 600ths of each other. Kevin Vassantville in 4 ahead of Brody Maynard, who now shows in P5 timing glitch there. Jack Reeve in P6. Taylor Lemray down in P7, just waiting for race control. Lemray will start the race, I believe, well outside of 105%, but I don't know what's the race control.
Important to note as well. Well, I say important to note. It might not matter in the grand scheme of things. James Rodison obviously has been allowed to start in the GT3 field. Will be required to take a pit lane start after an incident in qualifying, so we'll be very far off the back of the field when they come through. As I think we've just had a shunt in practice. You'd love to see. Oh, and that's an unsafe rejoin.
Seriously, man.
And bonk.
You can see why Matteo is not very happy about that.
I don't know what procedure is for like that kind of wreck in practice.
In one, it seems to be anything goes. is what I've seen in the past, but
yeah, it doesn't fill me with confidence, you know.
Yeah.
As your weekly reminder, the race does not start on the green flag. The race will start when your class leader goes within the start zone. And the start zone is indicated in the PDF. And of course, for GT3, the GT3 pole sitters, so that is, I believe, Matthias again. We ask you to leave roughly a 20-25 second gap to the hypercars ahead. The pace car speed is in the info tab in the UI, so you can see exactly how fast the hypercars are probably going to be going. And aside from that, I just simply wish you a good race and to have fun.
The dulcet tones of race director Andrew Tapman there. With some,
A relatively quick introduction, and I've not looked at what the message is. Probably yes, it is. It about interrupting us as per usual. Couple of cars on track. A lot of drivers choosing to stay in the pit lane during this warm-up session. GTPs have obviously just been out. It's good for the GT3 drivers to get back in after the 15 minutes and just check everything's still working.
make sure you've got the race set uploaded as well. It's prime. Make sure you don't ruin yourself situation. This.
Why we're in one of those. Go on, Alex.
Go on. I was going to say while this is a so this is a 45-minute race as opposed to a 60 one, so you could potentially go for a lower fuel than you might take on a full race if you really wanted to try and do something fun with the strategy. Maybe split the race in half as opposed to going long, but probably just going to see full fuel tanks into a short stop for a lot of these drivers.
What I was going to say was you might have noticed the absence of Casper Hu today, who managed to snap the grip, the whole hand, not just the tape or whatever, but the whole grip off his steering wheel during a slide in the LMP2 while practicing for Road Atlanta. Let's hope that wheel gets repaired and we'll get another driver back. That was a big... Remember, these drivers, like you were saying, Alice, have just spent about 15 minutes running on the quali setup, and the last 5-10 minutes of practice were probably done on the quali setup as well. So this is a good opportunity to get, not just make sure you've got the right setup loaded, but make sure that the race, that you're aware of how the race setup's going to handle. Yeah,
it's a very easy thing to forget, like that usually the quality setups are a lot more on the ragged edge than your typical race setup is going to be, just because you need to get one good lap out of a quality setup as opposed to, in this case, 45 minutes of good laps out of your car.
Yeah, and that can sometimes
no.
change the oversteer, understeer characteristics of the car. You might have a car that's a little bit more oversteery for qualifying. Not got an hour or 45 minutes in today's case of laps straight.
Also race fuel. Like,
race
obviously we
fuel.
don't run the full fuel tanks in the ASR series, but we still run more than you'd want to put in a quali run. So just having that bit of extra weight behind the car is something you just need to be aware of constantly. This is going to be a short formation lap here at the Nurburgring. We are just out of the Bilstein curve with 7 GTPs and 16 GT3s lined up, as the 17th will be starting from pit lane. With 45 minutes on the clock, this should be a very explosive race.
Yeah, going to be action-packed, expecting one pit stop. Pushing flat out most of the time.
Important to know as well, this is a tiny run to the start-finish line, so these GTPs are going to have no temperature in the tyres.
We already saw what can happen in turn 1, didn't we, with with Matteo and Brody, and you've not got much temperature. Matteo nearly getting into the back of it, the braking from the hairpin, and in very heavy braking zone, with no tyre temperature as well. It's going to extend that even. So this is going to be, like you say, an interesting turn 1, and hopefully pass through that. Everyone weaving very aggressively here. The safety car will peel off about now into the pit lane.
GT3s aren't moving.
Focus on the hypercars for now, then I think they're rolling now, aren't they? Quinton Verdon getting ready, 2 stars from pole position. Can the Ferrari behind of Samira Shadow, David van der Backer challenge? The good jump for Verdon though at first, but is that going to give too much of a toe behind? And it's a good start for van der Backer, who goes defensive against the Shadow. And into turn 1, we're nice and spread out. The leader though, he's going to get a BMW down the inside because those Ferrari brakes are not good at the start. But can David van der Backer hold it? Because it's a cut back to the grippy part of the track for Quinton Verdon, but no, he's lost the lead.
Oh, reef sideways in the back. Oh, contact takes out Tail Emery as well. Fortunate start for both those drivers.
Already our GT3s are getting ready to go, so let's cut to that healthy GT3 field that we've got here today. And the BMW pops out of line there, and I'm not quite sure what happened. Matthias Weiter is going to lead us, and everyone gets away okay. Let's see what happens in turn 1 though, because this is a lot of cars heading into turn 1 at high speed, and we've got the Jens Brothers competition car down the inside, and there's contact there already between Albert Preem and Callum Lux, and Albert Preem's gone wide because of it, and Callum Lux is going to get up into P3.
I think they all made it through okay, just about.
James Robinson in the background there, coming out of pit lane.
Yeah, I think the GT3s have just about got away with it. Simon Bertoloni is alongside Luke Cardi, a bit further back. Servantoni will get
the Draki racing cars sticking their nose in there as well. Brody Maynard struggling. He's fallen back a little bit from the leaders out front.
I think the GT3s have managed to make it through the first few corners unscathed. Dive from Vincent van der Mulbrook. Gets alongside a little bit argy-bargy through the corner.
Take a look at what happened to Jack Reeve. Yeah. So we've got the turn 1 going on with the leaders ahead. Then the orange DLR Ferrari locks up as well, but that doesn't end up too bad for anybody. And I think Brody lost a little bit of time. It was just a cold tyre spin for Reeve. That was very unfortunate, and looks like Lemery's got away with it fairly damage-free, and that's been called as a racing incident already. So I'm going to go back to live images. And we're tight in GT3 still. Down the back straight, it's going to get interesting into the chicane. The Jens Brothers car
dear.
dives out of this to not get too involved into it. We're side by side, the Porsche up the inside of the Audi, and there's going to be contact shortly. No, but McLaren is going to try and sweep around the outside and find a way through the final corner. Carry a little bit more speed around the outside, and he's going to try and get the Porsche as well here.
Oh, he's there, you can't.
Oh, and he's off the track, and there's more contact behind as well.
I think Knuckles going to feel particularly hard done there. I think he had the outside and just got shoved off at the end. I'm not sure how much of an overlap there actually was, but it looked convincing from my angle.
Yeah, Knockel as well will be wanting to clear these guys and catch up with the rest of the pro field because he's got a couple of AMs to clear, as does Vincent van der Moelenbrug just ahead. He's going to go down the inside here in the first sector, and he's going to clear the Porsche and now try and drive away in that McLaren.
I respect that. It's just you've got sometimes you just need to force the issue, make sure you get a position and drive off into the distance. That car was clearly faster than the ones around it. And now with a little bit of space, it should be able to pull away.
That's the Audi now of Tiemann Scholten trying to have a go on his teammate Weinbergen. Close at the front as well here. Dave van der Vack is pulling away in the BMW, but Samir Rashad is about to have a go on the fellow Ferrari ahead. A bit too far back.
Need to be right alongside to make a dive bomb in these cars. Otherwise, it's a very risky move you're trying to make. And the talent these drivers have, you're really going to struggle to outbrake someone by a significant margin. As Reva's pulled into the pit lane, presumably to repair that missing wing.
Yeah, I would have thought so. He's probably trying to survive to get as far as he could on the fuel tank, but that's going to damage the race for Reeves. It's going to be big saving from here to try and make it to the end. Still going to need to do another stop, actually. That sort of distance is going to be possible.
25 to 30 minutes is what I would say a fuel tank can do in this series, and we are well outside of that window to the end.
This pack still really going at it. Kiko, this is for the lead. Actually, Kiko Lakaye running in P5 behind Albert Preem, Callum Lux, Daniel Morphy and Matthias Weiten, and they're nearly pushing each other through turn one. Great to see. We've got 4 different manufacturers here. 2 Mustangs and a BMW, a McLaren and a Mercedes.
So far everyone happy to just keep it single file for now, because it's really hard to actually get enough of a gap to try and make the run, especially with how on throttle these cars are going to be. It's difficult to sort of just get the speed difference you're going to need to get the pass done normally.
Callum Lux looking the most likely to be able to make a move. He's really pressurising Daniel Morphy here. It's so difficult in the GT3 to make a move under braking. You've got to find a different way by. And we're going to keep an eye on the traffic. The leader in hypercar in GTP, is the 06, who's just going through turn 2 now. So maybe another couple of laps, and they will start to catch the back. What the lap time is about a 10-second difference in lap time, so it won't be too long before they start to close up. Rashad in the hypercar class will be looking to use that to his advantage as well to try and get the move done on Verdonk ahead.
We'll be looking very aggressive in the back of Whiten here. Whiten is sort of the most at-risk driver that he's done without a toe. There are a lot of straights here. It can be difficult to make a move if you're just going off toe advantage, just because as soon as you pull out, all of that wind is going to hit the front of your car, and then suddenly you've lost your advantage. It's like, ooh, that is a 5-second penalty.
Yeah. I believe that is going to be for this incident here. For Uber Tarly, but I'm quite sure.
Living contact there. Oh, that's a weird one.
Rashad briefly off the road, apologies, jumped to try and work out what was going on. There was another incident for Harley, so I'm not sure if it's this that has been road.
That doesn't look like causing a collision type of incident.
But what I'm going to do is just try and find it. I'm not connected to race control today. Billy and Amy is not with us. Into the dump, pushing up a little bit at the front, just at the purple lap time. And a moment off the road for your own Weinbergen as well. Just carries a little bit too much speed, but he's going to get away with it, okay? But the Sandvort has just gone off. We just missed this. Be in turn 1, surely under braking. Ferrari is going to... Let's see what happens and see if Brody just comes from a long way back, but...
That's way too far back to make a move, yeah.
Oh, spins at the apex and just ducks under to avoid damage, so Ferrari driver will push on. Vincent van der Moelenbrugge has just passed Quinton Bosi. He's going to go round the outside. That's going to be mega impressive. Going to make it stick. Bossy gives him the room. We'd love to see. Tony Knockel recently passed Luca Picardi as well into turn 1 on the brakes in the McLaren. Is going to be brave to clear the AM driver.
Like Knockel's race pace is a lot better than the qualifying pace. That car is moving forwards consistently. Looking very confident right now. So probably going to try and get a little bit further up the field, but has a decent gap now to catch Sanchez, Cachafiero, who'll be the next car.
Shad has also fallen off the back of our leader here. Running a lot closer in, of second place, so Verdon.
They did have to clear the 53 of James Rodison, so I think they might have tripped over him a little bit each. But now they're actually catching the back of the main GT3 traffic. There have been a few gaps established
for the
here.
Sandvort. Is this going to be trying to pass for GT3 as well?
Dreams had an off. The Sandvort looks okay on that end. Unfortunate time, it's going to compromise the corner. Yeah, that just upsets the car enough that spin happens.
This is what happened to Albert Preem. He was passed by Kiko Lakaye. All the off-track showed up. Ah, no, he's spun. Oh, and gets into the wall.
Yeah, not what you want to see.
And Kiko Lakaye will be pleased to have gained a position, but has lost touch with this top 3 now. So often in GT3 we see being a bit of a problem, and once you fall out of that toe of the lead pack, it's really hard to close back up to it. So we'll see what Lakaye can do. That gap is 1.4 seconds. See what happens to it over the next few laps. Whereas Albert Preem come out a long way off the lead. So going to have to do the best to close up. About 11 seconds back from the class leader, unfortunately.
What's happening? Van der Wacker rapidly approaching the back of the GT3s. Has cleared Quinton Bosi. It's now looking like he's going to get the rest of the pack here.
Not caught them at a bad time if he can clear a couple down the straight, but I don't think he's going to have the speed to do so, to be honest. And then sticking behind in sector 1 is not ideal at all.
Deceptively long gap between those cars. As dives down the inside on his DLR teammate. I think that might have been the reason why that move stuck, but it does work out. Van der Wacker clears the first of many cars, and now you have to just sit in this traffic, because there is nowhere for you to really move here.
Seems to have the pace to pull away at the front as well, so doesn't want to do anything too risky here.
The advantage you have is that yes, you're stuck in traffic, but you've put a GT3 between you and the next car, so you will have an advantage here. And that you at least, the car behind has to suffer the same fate as you, getting stuck in traffic through a very technical section of the track.
Yeah, meanwhile, Kiko Lakaye is closed up to Callum Lux, but mainly due to Callum Lux dropping off the back of Morphy. Not sure if there was a mistake for Lux, but there's now a second back from Morphy, so we'll be really trying now to stay within that toe, and it's a late dive to the outside for Daniel Morphy as he threads the needle between the 2 DLR cars and gets through.
And that's 2 GT3s between Van der Wacker and Verdonk. So I think he's going to be very happy about that.
Team and Scholten and teammate Weinbergen fighting it out for P3 in AM, with all of the hypercars trying to find a gap in between the two of them.
Of course, they're not done. There's still a bunch more cars thing to let through as well. So that is going to be Samira Shah just about keeping the car together on your inside there. Looks a lot more sketchy from the offboard, but does manage to keep the car pointing forwards. And should just get a decent chunk of these cars cleared here. This is what you want. You want to get these cars on the straight where you have the performance in your car. Just get the foot down and get the car through.
And the Moolah bucket is past Anthony Caranta, and it's going to be down the inside into turn 1 on the brakes. Trying to make his way back up the field.
It's nice to switch back as well, make sure to close off that inside on corner exit as well. Just a really good move there. If you leave that inside open, you do find yourself a little bit more vulnerable to the switchback. But you just get that car turned a little bit more, you can cover that off, force the opponent to go wide around the outside, force them to adjust their angle mid-corner, which will really slow them down. Just a really nice bit of offensive driving there.
Callum Lux has closed back up a little bit, but Daniel Morphy really pressurising the race leader in GTP Pro tonight on that gap.
Still a little way from Campton Hill with GTPs though. As Van der Wacker still not quite at the tail of that lead group of GT3s. So I believe that would be Knuckle that Van der Wacker just cleared there in 6th place. Oh, I think he's going to get maybe one of them at the end of this straight here, but that is a long way to see. You can see them down the stretch, and they are going to be there waiting for him in turn 1.
Albert Preem has passed Luca Picardi on his recovery drive. Just another AM driver that he's clearing, and yeah, doesn't get anyone by turn 1. Means he's going to have to suffer through one of the worst bits of the track.
Jeroen Winterbergen has entered the pits.
For fuel to get to the end of the race, you would have thought.
It's a bit of a stretch. I think it's doable. It's uncomfortable, certainly. Still 30 minutes of this race to run, plus potential for going over because you're in GT3. You don't really have good control of where your finish is going to end up relative to the GTP leader. Van der Wacker has got past Kiko Lakale. Now just has Lux Morgan White to get through.
Now going to close up on this top 3, and Callum Lux is really close up to Daniel Morphy now, so this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but we'll clear Lux, and he's going to go for Morphy as well. No, thinks better of it.
No.
And we'll now surely clear these two down the back straight, but Callum Lux will not be very pleased that he's just closed up that gap and had it instantly expanded again by the hypercar. But that is the first round done of traffic, but there's more GCPs behind that have got to clear these guys as well, and that's spreading them out a little bit more. And it's no move up the inside for Quinton Verdonk. That's going to cost him time as the leader now runs in clear air and is pulling away, and the car behind is closing up rapidly. He's just gained about half a second.
Lux once again forced to deal with the fact that he's just been offset by a GTP. Won't have a run down in turn 1 here. This GT3 leaders.
Melvin Gack and Vincent Van Mullenbroek are really going at it here, the pro and the AM, but they swapped positions a couple of times actually, so go and take a look at it.
Gack down the inside, not clear unfortunately, so has to take the high side here, bank corner, so can carry a decent chunk of speed as they get down this hill.
Back in for the toe, flashes the lights, he's not happy, or he's telling him he's coming. It's one or the other. Can he get down the inside, or is that going to be moved done?
No, that's moved done. Potential for ascent into the final hairpin, but I wouldn't recommend it from that far back. As we go back to live pictures, Van der Wacker still leads the GTP field by a tune of 2 seconds, with White leaning GT3 pros ahead of Morphy, and Lux has been offset a little bit at this point. So when Bertolini's leading GT3 AM as it stands currently, with Picardi and Shelton chasing him down. And first round of traffic has been pretty much our way. We're still a few GTP stragglers caught in the pack, but nothing major has happened so far. Seems to be all quiet on the western front.
Oh, off the road! Sorry, just into the gravel there for Matthias Weiten, and that is going to hurt the straight line speed down the back straight. Is that going to give Morphy a chance? It's the closest he's been, but I think 2 times back, it's still a little bit too far, and he can't take advantage of it. But there are cracks in the defence from Weiten beginning to show, and they've got the GCP here of Brody Maynard behind.
So, like, I will say you are able to dip a little bit of your for that corner. It's a really good corner, and you are able to just get that tyre off, and like the gravel isn't too bad around here. That you can actually just drive off like nothing is wrong. So we go into a replay if you're in a wind wagon.
Or go just loses a back end. He's gotten away with it. Now it's going to go again.
Yep, and does manage to just pull away safely though. So no harm, no foul. Just bruised ego, but no lasting damage.
Just over a second covers the top 3 in GT3 field.
Lux has the unfortunate disposition of being close but not close enough. White and Morphy seem to have a decent control over this race right now, and that even if they do dip a tyre off, they're not offset from each other enough to the point where you can potentially risk an overtake.
It's going to be interesting to see what these guys do in this slightly shortened race today. With fuel, are Morphy and Lux able to save a significant amount behind Weiten? It's not going to be enough to 0 stop the race. Everyone will be doing the 1 stop, we think. But it might be enough to have a much shorter pit stop and gain some time through that. Lux has closed up a little bit more this lap. Got another GTP that's going to try and find the gap behind. That's Kevin de Sandvoort in the third of the 3 Ferraris, and off the road again a little bit, but for the 2 leaders this time. Both seem to get away with that amount of gravel.
So I'll be honest, I don't think you can actually save that much around here. Like, you're obviously in the tow for a lot of this track, but you are like trying to carry a lot of speed through these corners manually. You're not sort of like stop-starting where you can just ease into a braking zone. The bit of coasting as Preem gets the move done here. Samira Shard, I believe that is under investigation.
Not sure what that's for. If someone in race control could let us know.
Everyone. Yeah, I'd be surprised if there's that much fuel save. You could maybe save like a little bit, and that might be enough to like get you a position if you're this close on pit road. But I'm not expecting like a lap's difference here. I'm expecting these cars to come in at the same point in time, especially given how big this lap is and how on throttle you are and how just little hard braking there is around here. So, you know, I think they'd rather take the track position as it stands currently. I could be wrong. I'm expecting them to come in the normal window, 25 to 30 minutes, probably on the longer end of that. You can maybe take 2 tyres if you wanted to. I always like taking front when I do GT3s on a sprint race, but I'm a psychopath, so Samira has been given a warning for leaving racing room at turn 9, which would be the left-hander of the Schumacher races. So White still leads Morphy and Lux, very much in lockstep with each other at this point. Sergio Sanchez Cachafiero has fallen off to the tune of 3 seconds. Kiko Lecale further back still. Knuckle has closed up by 1.5 seconds to Lecale, but has sort of lost a little bit of steam in the charge.
Well, Lux looking aggressive now. Just picked a picture of the Samir Ashad instant and just squeezes a GT3 to the outside a little bit too. Both got away with it, but race control just making it clear. A bit more room. These 3 getting racy here. It's the closest they've been for a while. But just keeping the pressure on. You never know when someone's going to make a mistake, or you can force a mistake. Orpy looking really
Ooh,
under pressure here,
whoa.
actually.
Had sequence there for Morpine. Looks, unfortunately, has a GT3 width of a car in front that you can't just drive around freely. But Lux is definitely looking like a faster car right now, I would say. Able to close up that gap considerably and consistently. So I don't know if it's Whiten just saving something here. Or if Lux just has enough of a draft where that can just get dragged back, but German's currently struggling to just find any way through right now, and it's probably going to be a little bit frustrating, but still 22 minutes left in this race, still plenty of time to find something. You've got a pit stop you know you need to make at some point. Jack Reeves can go for a spin, I think.
I think so. Let's take a look what happened. It's going to be where we've seen so many drivers at moments today, and it is. Back end goes. No damage.
Downhill turning into braking, yeah.
Knuckles also had a moment.
Oh.
Take a look at what happened to the German driver. Breaks into the hairpin. Carry a little bit too much speed, I would guess. Or the curve on the inside, actually.
That is a lot of drivers that have been put under investigation there. Okay, Jack Reeves has just gone spinning into the gravel.
Okay, try and work out what happened. This is Jack Reeve.
He's catching two GT3s, gonna split the difference.
Oh, and
Tags them on the inside and ooh.
take another look at that from the chopper. Not a chopper, but we'll leave it on. Oh, it was a low percentage move there from Jack Reeve.
I don't know if that's the camera being unfortunate, but it looks like the car on the inside does have a...
It's very hard to judge. We'll let race control look at some slow-mos. It looks like the car on the inside could have maybe given a bit more room, but then...
It does look like it leaves the corner, but I'm not... Again, I'll leave that one to race control. That's not a pleasant one if you're a Reeve who's had to go to the pits.
Not sure what the big under-investigation is. Just quite a few cars. To change lap by lap, who's looking aggressive in this front pack? It looks like Morpine out, putting the pressure on the most.
Still the closest on-track battle. That is the same incident the race control have put under investigation. Again, that's very cool. Unless there was a separate incident on the same lap involving the same three drivers that I'm not aware of, which could be the case.
I don't know, but there was another one that came up just before it that I thought had a few more drivers, so I'm not...
No, there was.
Sure
They
about
just
that
put
one.
that last one in twice, I'm not sure why.
Well, Knuckles been black flagged. Ow.
I'm not...
A lot of drivers into the pit lane, so I see entering pits at 25:44, black flag at 25.
I think someone might have entered pit lane a little bit too hot.
Yeah.
Not a great view, I have to say.
Let's try another one. Okay, let's try one more time.
Timeline is those yellow cones gets very close to the back of the car in front, which does make me think that was probably a little bit too hot.
Getting in pit lane as the leaders in GTP are in this time by. Very close, these top three. So this could come down to a little bit of fuel and who's done the best. Let's keep an eye on this.
White and Morpine Lux are on the back stretch of the track now.
Find a better camera, but I think we're not going to get one than the pit lane camera. Then the Vaca pulls away.
First and
Do
fourth,
the other
Paris lead
two,
by
but-
merit of not pitting yet, and that's a decent gap between Van der Vaca and Verdonk.
All three of our GT3s are... Oh no, they're not. Daniel Morpie stays out for one more lap. What can he do on low fuel for a lap? Is he going to go for an overcut here? Interesting data here as well for our early pitter, which was your own Weinbergen, I believe. That these guys have made it 27 minutes on this fuel. A half an hour that he needed to do. He's got wait. No tyres, of course, in the shortened race today. Oh, and it's away well for Callum Lux. Not enough to gain. But this is going to be interesting. Can Callum Lux use this lap to close up to Matthias Weiten, which could mean that Daniel Morphy is going to end up either first or third.
Also, does Morphy get the same fuel number as these other drivers in the car? Presumably would need to take less fuel to get to the race based on fuel economy, but...
Callum Lux has actually net lost out a little bit here. He's a little bit further back to Weiten than he was when they came into the pit lane. But pushing on and has already gained about a tenth as they left the pit exit. Morpy's just making his way through the Schumacher S, so we'll keep you updated on where and when he can do the pit lane. Sandvort pits from the inherited lead, which promotes David van der Backer back to the lead.
Oh, Gak just gets stove by Weinbergen. I think P11 or...
Going to be from a long way back here in the Porsche, yes. On the Audi. Follows the DLR hypercar through. He'll have to race him on the exit, but gets his foot down and gets back to the ideal line. Take good position. And Morpy into the pit lane then, so we're going to keep an eye on these two. Morpy car, or P1, you can see him driving down the pit lane now on the mini-map, has now come to a stop. The gap to Matthias is going to matter.
So Weiten's coming down the start-finish. Morpy is moving, I believe.
Morpy's out ahead. It's ahead for Morpy. Morpy's going to take the lead. Can he keep it with the slow speed on the exit? Morpy overcuts on the low fuel for one more lap to take the lead of the race with 15 minutes to go.
Weiten tried to make the dive happen, couldn't quite get it to stick, and now stuck behind the Mercedes driver. And now the tables have turned. The car that was in the lead of this race now becomes the chaser. And while that car looked good in clean air, it might not behave the same now you're staring down the back of a different car. Obviously, you need to be aware that that car's probably have different brake markers to you. It's going to handle a little bit differently, and it's also going to upset your aero balance. And while this is happening, obviously, Callum Lux in that McLaren a little bit further back now, but certainly not out of this race yet. It's still a 3-car shootout for the lead of this race. Preem, that's not a good parking spot.
Well, I think there's 2 stages to this for Albert Preem. Just for a spin.
Slow, lazy slide off the corner. Just get the car rolling. Might stay in the grass a little bit longer than he wants to, but we'll eventually get to the track safely.
Luca Picardi and Simone Bertolini in a side that's become familiar will lead in GT Cam.
Actually close up to each other fairly decently, but speaking of close, fighting, still hunting the back of Morpy. We've seen this the other way around for most of the track. Morpy couldn't find a way past Weiten, but I don't know. I think Morpy has the straight line speed, actually. I think that Mercedes, excuse me, is pulling away.
It's going to be down the inside. He's going to have a look. Matthias
that's
Weiten.
Not going to work. No.
Oh, he gets into the back of him and has to back off a little bit. Race control will be keeping an eye on this because that was a long way to come back from and nearly got into the back of his rivals. Lemray gone for a spin behind.
Just about avoids ending up into the front of Callum Lux, but that's not going to be a pretty sight.
Pretty off there.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that was
high-speed spin.
that move was never on for Viton. That is a show your nose and hope your opponent just completely explodes mentally. That car was never alongside the entire way through the braking zone. That wasn't even a low percentage move from Viton. That was a 0% move.
Morphy as well.
Oh, Lemeray.
Held well, didn't he? He wasn't going to get through to him there. Alan looks as well. Unfortunate that Lemeray was where he was, because it looks to me like being held up by Lemeray meant that he didn't get an opportunity to try and sneak round Viton after he had to get on the brakes a bit heavier than he wanted. I think this. I don't know if this is this is another incident for
No, this is a
Mateo.
incident, yes.
Amazing.
Message from race control, Andrew Tapman. Bruh. As Matteo Lemery has been black flagged, I believe that one, based on the timing, might have just been incident point limit.
That's incident point limit is when I'm looking what he's got.
Oh yeah, I see the 18 on my screen. That is a not a good race, Matteo Lemery, who will have to take a drive-through penalty.
Track temperature still rising here as well. We just hit 37 degrees. Track might be getting a little bit more difficult. He's going to have another go here. Mateus Viton, it's not bad straight line speed in the Mustang, and he forces Mercedes to go defensive when he perhaps doesn't need to. And Callum Lux will be watching this going, come on, go a little bit later. let's have a little fight in front of me.
No, stop showing your bloody nose. I'm annoyed.
Not working yet, but it's also not really costing him any time.
I'm just scared that he's just gonna spin Morping. Like that's the way he's going to try and win this race.
Oh, he's going to try and go down the inside again.
No, that's never working. What are we doing here? I'm annoyed.
It would not be an ASI IMSA race without Alice getting annoyed. The driving standards of one person or another. And this has allowed Callum Lux to close up even more as well. Ready to pick up the pieces.
Like if he was like even a third, maybe even a quarter of a car closer, sure, you can get alongside under braking. That then becomes like a viable strategy. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, okay, I think that was a better camera angle than actual send. But like he's just showing the nose, and it's just like I'm just terrified there's just going to be a big collision, and that's how this race is going to conclude.
Well, it was 15 minutes to go when they came out the pits. It's 10 minutes to go now. He's survived a third of what he needs to.
And I'm saying he should pull away a little bit here. It's been very good on the front stretch.
Seems good under acceleration, and then the Mustang seems to come back a little bit through the second phase, and he gets into the back of him.
I'm mad.
Callum Lux is going to try and make an opportunity out of this.
I am fundamentally upset by the decision making of the DLR driver. That is my conclusion.
Pretty onto the grass,
a little bit
but
knowing. Yeah.
Just getting used to the GT3 for Albert Preem today.
It's like the thing you have to watch out for as well is I don't exactly know what the sensitivity of damage these cars have. In a stock car, you can definitely get away with that. I think at some point in a GT3, you are going to damage the front aero, and that is really going to put parachute on the front of your car. And at that point, you're really going to be struggling because you cannot make a move.
Looks looking aggressive here, actually.
On top speed.
Second time penalty for car number 55.
Sergio Sanchez Casafiero, I believe.
That's an incident with Matteo Lemeray.
That is 2 races in a row that Sergio Sanchez Casafiero has been chat muted. As I'm not sure what the I need another look at the replay to see what happened there, but skimming more leading right down the front stretch once again. And if history has told us anything, it's that there's going to be a bit of argy-bargy over the apex of turn 1.
That's a better
It does
exit.
look a lot close this time, yes.
Better exit for Viton this time, and he's closing a lot earlier down the straight. Not as close though. Can he make a move into turn 1? Morpy knows it's going to come, and he goes defensive to the inside.
If he gets it checked up.
Oh, and they're going to be side by side.
But that's fine. Morpy gets it clear by the corner exit, and at that point you have complete control over this corner. You just completely block off the exit for White.
Oh, Lux gets a little bit loose trying to get on the power.
It has forced Morpy to go defensive, but you've still got White behind, and coming through this next section where Morpy's usually been able to build a little bit of a buffer, that might just be fine for Morpy.
He likes to have a look down the inside at the end of the second sector. It's not worked yet. Best opportunity has been turn 1. 6.5 minutes to go, sorry, in this session now.
Gonna try and offset the lines.
Only
Try and
Knuckle
build some-
pushing on. He's passed 3 cars in the last couple of laps.
Stuck quite far down the order though, 11th.
Jeroen Reinbergen has to dive to the pit lane for a splash to finish off this race, unfortunately, for the Porsche driver. Spread out a little bit now, these top 3. Callum Lux backed off a little bit more. GTP leader Davy van der Vakke getting ready to pass these guys again. I think fortunately for Davy, and oh, he is going to go the inside, of course he is, of the McLaren, which is a shame for Callum Lux.
Catch a break.
Yeah, unfortunately for Callum, and he's not very happy. There was a flash of the lights there, but he is going to clear the rest of them down the straight. Don't think that's going to be the case for the Ferrari though. Quinton the donk behind, so that could make things a little bit too far back this time though. Matthias Viton and Daniel Morphy able to take the line he would want into turn 1. Interesting.
Like to get it completely stopped on an apex, and which is giving White a little bit more carry through speed, which does close up that gap. It's just once you get there, no, don't do this. I see the car pull out of line, and I'm like, this is going to end in a horrible wreck. This doesn't end in a pass ever.
Callum Lux not happy there. He's just lost another half a second after Quinton Verdonk slotted himself in between the race leaders.
Well, we'll at least have a small toe off the exit of this corner. Won't be much, but at least be a little bit of an offset from White. Might be enough to just give a little bit of breathing room as Callum Lux
Picks up a full
cannot
black
catch
flag,
a break. No, the full black flag and also a GTP.
This has turned into a 2-horse race with just 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go now. It's going to be a couple more laps, maybe 3 laps for these guys, depending on, I think, probably be 3 more because of where the overall race leader is. But Daniel Morphy stretched out that lead a little bit this lap. Oh, but he gets onto the grass, and that's going to erode all of the time he'd made up, and that might give a good exit here to Matthias Viton.
No, I think Morphy got. He might have checked up the entrance, but it means he gets a very strong exit. Did lose a little bit of time, but still, that's a bigger gap than it was previous in the few laps. So White has no chance of making this move, and yet here we go anyway.
And there's contact. There's contact again between the 2 race leaders.
Okay.
Not enough for a 1x or a 2x, but there was definitely contact there.
Like, at some point, White has to realise this isn't going to work. You aren't going to spook Morphy like this. All you're doing is risking horrific damage to one or both of the cars. It's fine. There's 3 minutes left of this race. I can...
You can survive 3 more minutes, come on.
Mostly bottled in.
Callum Lux is looking like he's going to have to settle for 3rd unless there is an incident between the 2 race leaders, and takes an aggressive look to the inside, but he knows it's not going to work. He's trying to scare the Mercedes off the road.
See, I'd maybe try and set up more outside and try and set up a speed difference coming up through the S's. And then chooses to try and speak to the inside again. Does have a decent braking advantage through this corner. And close up significantly.
Seems to be pretty good on the brakes compared to the Mercedes ahead. Good exit there for Viton, he's closing up.
So here we go then.
Viton would be best to try something a little bit different in the final corner to try and get a little more straight line speed, but he's closer this lap.
Yeah, I'm worried now, based on the way they've been driving. I have a feeling, if he's this close, I have a feeling we might just see punt to pass. There it is.
And there was contact.
Not to pass though. Like, it's well covered from Orpy. Like, where do you think you're going? Like, you can't just throw the car down the inside and hope for the best.
Going to be one more to go after this lap, I think. MRA's put under investigation, I think, for the dive bomb that we just heard a GT3 driver on the radio about. The overall lead has come down a little bit in the last lap or so, but Dave Van der Vacker not really under threat just yet. But I think these two very close in the championship.
Okay, no, I think Orpy actually got at least nine there. Looked like he might have missed the bottom of the corner, but just get it snapped nicely to that late apex. Able to pull away a little bit.
Matthias Viton leads in the championship by just 32 points to Daniel Morpeak, who has much higher drop rounds as well.
Brody Maynard is directly behind me. Well, not directly, there's about seconds back to that DTP, but he is coming in, and that might actually just upset White massively. Oh, okay, never mind, it's 3. Oh, that's going to upset the braking of Morpy. Does manage to get it checked up in time. Like,
Fuck it in my front!
Interesting voice communication.
There's an
This should be the last lap for these drivers.
Shut up, man.
Instant between the Sandport and Lakaye is under investigation. We're going to have a look at that when it comes down to it. He's going to go to the outside. Oh, and he gets into the back of him again at the apex. Just like contact again.
Happening.
I think this will be the white flag lap. I think so. That was the last opportunity.
They crossed at 0-0, so it has to be the last lap. Van der Vacker should be comfortable enough to take the lead. Well, Verdonk has closed up significantly, but I don't know if it's enough to make a pass. But meanwhile, Morpy's still hunting Viton. Oh, Viton's still hunting Morpy, excuse me.
Callum Lux has settled for third here with the unfortunate losses in the traffic, and Viton is got damage on the front end of that Mustang now.
Not surprising, given the amount of contact. Certainly, at some point that nose is going to give. That is the lap car putting Bosey in front.
Yeah.
Who should?
Oh, he's going to try down the inside, and he's alongside, and there's going to be contact here. Surely pushes the Mercedes off the road a little bit. He's going to try and get back down the inside, and is back down the inside, and will clear him on the exit. But the lapped car off in the gravel a little bit there. Flashes his lights. What are you doing? Get out of the way! In the hypercar to avoid hitting the BMW. Goes off the road. He's back on the track a little bit there, and he's trying to clear it all out in the braking zone. Dave Van der Vacker wins ahead of Quinton Verdonk, Samira Shah.
Oh, the contact behind!
Race lead. Contact behind, and as a lapped car gets caught up behind Callum Lux, but Daniel Morpy is going to win this race as Matthias Viton gets a little bit loose trying to nail the exit. Daniel Morpy will win the race in GT3 Pro ahead of Callum Lux in P3, but Matthias Viton will take P2 with that damaged Mustang bumper after all of those little bits of contact. Matteo Leray picks up a 35-second time penalty for an unserved black flag, but he will have picked up from that incident on the last lap. When he realised that BMW was coming across, he chose to go off track. So Matteo choosing to do seemingly the right thing there. Let's take a look at all of that on the last lap. Let's go back even further, actually, to take a look at the first bit of the pass. And actually, we can't go back any further. But that is Matteo Lemre. Let's take one more look at it. Matteo Lemre trying to avoid. In fact, this is... Let's just enjoy that whole last lap again. The Matthias Viten was off in sector 1. Just couldn't find a way by here. Look, you can see the damage on the bumper here. He has definitely picked up some damage.
It's like, I will say, I don't like the move from Viten. I think if Morpy was so inclined, I feel like he would have been within his rights to close the door. I just think Morpy thought, no, he's going to wreck me if I try and come down here. I'm going to give him the space and take the inside for the next corner, which does work out perfectly. We'll see it coming through here. He is a lot closer than he has been the previous 3 laps, and it is a bit of a desperation move from Viten. He has been quite strong on the brakes.
This car has probably put Morpy off a little bit as well, because it's the closing speed that they've got to Quinton Nosey ahead.
Okay, this is actually quite close. Like, this, it's a late move down the inside. Just about gets given the room. But then just can't.
So it's going to be difficult to hang it around the outside there, yeah. And then you can see Matteo Lemre coming up behind the back, and he thinks there's a gap. He sees a BMW coming across, and he thinks, I am not getting involved in the battle for the lead in today's race. Takes to the grass.
I don't think Morpy saw him coming, and that...
Yeah. I think that is what happened. I think Morpy was too focused on Viten, understandably, and the lapped car in front. Morpy will win.
What happened in behind then?
Yeah, what did happen behind? We find Callum Lux.
Callum Lux, who finished 5th at the end of this race on my timing sheet, which is, quite frankly, the most ridiculous thing about that, because Callum Lux drove like
this is Quinton Bosey.
Bloody good race.
So Callum Lux caught out by the slow hypercar, and then Quinton Bosey slow ahead. But then Callum Lux... no, Callum Lux showing P3 for me, but then P5 on my race control timing screen. Did Callum pick up a... Callum picked up a drive-through penalty, I think. Yeah, picked up a black flag from the off-track in the chicane, and that's what's dropped him down to P5.
I am genuinely heartbroken. That is... I thought we were going to see the front 2 drivers take themselves out, not literally everybody behind them, and I don't know how to feel now.
From Callum Lux's perspective.
Okay, no, he did. Okay, Callum Lux comes in way too hot through that corner. Like the fuel's obviously
I think Matteo was going a lot slower than he expected, but yes, all the speed to be carrying in, especially on the final lap.
No, Callum, I respect it.
Okay, let's take a look at our race results. Your race winner, David Van der Backer, only half a second in it at the end, but had the pace on Quinton Verdonk and Samir Rashad all day, who finished off the podium. Brody Maynard will come home to take P4, 23 seconds off the lead ahead of the Sandvort Lemre, 1 lap down. Reeve not the full race distance. GT3 Pro was eventually won by Daniel Morpy ahead of Viten, Sanchez, Lacaille, Lux in P5 after serving that penalty. Unfortunately, was once in the battle for the lead, of course. Van der Meulenbrucker in P6, Preem in P7, Knockel a lap down in P8, and Matteo Batali not completing the race distance, 22 laps down. We didn't see much of it, but it was a close fight between Bertolini and Picardi all race long. Scholten then about 30 seconds behind Verman, and then Gat, Caranta, Weinberg and Bosey and Rodison all a lap down at the end, but some of them are only a lap down because of when the race leader crossed the finish line. All right, thank you very much to everyone that joined us. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of things still to look at, so if you want to find out the full results, head over to the Discord channel. It's in the description. If you also want to join us for the remaining 2 rounds of this season, you can buy a reduced entry ticket, only I believe about €250, somewhere around there, can't quite off the top of my head. And you can grab one of them on our website, and that'll get you access to the last 2 rounds of the season. We would love to have you with us. Thanks, Alice, for joining me today. It's been a little bit getting back into it. We've not done the last 3, but an interesting race, especially in that GT Pro field.
Interesting is a good choice of description.
A tight race in the GT Pro field. Only Morpy saying good race to Matthias Whiten, so clearly not too upset about it. All right, thanks everybody, and I say that, and then every week realise that I've not told you when back, which is next week for the penultimate round at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park before we head to Road America for races here on the channel. Well, thank you everyone, and we'll see you next week.